So during COVID-19, life was pretty bad.
During lockdown, it has a really pathetic way of life. We are stuck in a home. Most probably, it's that, like a jail that we came up only when need the basic needs.
It was not normal. We were in the houses all day. We couldn't socialize, meet our people, being with the ones we loved. It was pretty tough. Everything changed in our schools as well. We got to try to study online, which was pretty hard as well, and it changed everything.
For almost everyone, the lockdown was a very depressing phase of our lives when we think again about our life decisions, and it was months and months of our lives, and we missed a lot of opportunities.
I think COVID did not end. We still have COVID. Our life is highly related to COVID. Of course, the situation is not the same as it was in 2019, but we still face all these issues.
We were things we in travels and school life experience that we missed during this phase. But now I'm really happy that life is a little bit back to normal and we can see each other face to face again.
Well, lockdown was quite a bad thing for everybody, and especially because we were worried, very worried if we had to go to market or something, then come back and wash your hand and take a shower. I live with my grandmother, and she's old, so I have to be extra careful, not talk to anybody, not meet anybody for almost a year. It was crazy, and it was so frustrating too.
I can only imagine it's a horrible time for us, but I wanna forget that fast about it.
Well, I think it affected a lot. Public spaces was completely alone, but I think it also grow public spaces virtually somehow. So I think it was not all bad because we are now back to the public spaces, but we also had what we create in the COVID times.
Well, I live with my grandparents, so I was always afraid. Now still, but with their health and my parents as well, COVID is still going on. Some people forget it, but I think we must keep it in mind. And a lot of countries and people are still being really affected by it. So now governments and vaccines are dealing better than the beginning, of course. So it's better in the workspace. I believe companies and associations and stuff now they accept a lot better doing online and Zoom meetings and working from home. What I think it's a very practical way of doing everything. Before COVID, all my meetings had to be in person, and this I believe it was a really good improvement.
It kind of is, it kind of isn't, because it depends on the countries. Right now we have to use the mask on like public transportation in Germany or in some planes. But I think overall it's like 70%, 80% normal.
No, at all. We still have masks, and before going flights, I brought my certificate of vaccines, and there's a lot of countries that brought back the decisions and the restrictions and stuff, and we are always having to make sure that, okay, maybe we need to wash our hands or wear a mask. So these small things in some countries make us remember that COVID is still going on, but I think it was good because it was good to see how some governments dealt with the pandemic. Some governments dealt really bad, and wasn't a country supposed to deal this way. And things could have gone better, I believe. But maybe in the future we can do some improvements in health, and even with the investments in health, worker and people who work in this area. In my country, for example, I thought that governments and people would recognize their work a lot more and invest in the area and improve their conditions, and it didn't happen. Would make me a little bit sad, but I hope in the future this can change.
Life is not back to normal, to how it was before COVID. It's more normal than during COVID, but for example, we still use masks. We still need to be to like keep a distance between everyone else. So situations when COVID is totally back won't happen. We still have a lot to go through to go back to the completely normal life we had before COVID. But of course the situation is much better than 2 years ago, for example.
I think in general terms it's back to normal. But I think we are the generation of the COVID, and it will be like a big mark forever. I think it was something that nobody ever expected, and it changed a lot. It was, yes, a big mark on our lives.
Yes, rather than previous, it's definitely back to normal. Like I'm like feel like a free bird now. I hope this COVID situation never come again in this art life. Definitely, it's a new opportunity to get more knowledge and various perspective from different countries, and this free opportunity giving us the more opportunity to learn better about the world and what would be the future importance of the arts during such COVID life if come back again. So definitely, it's a good point.
Mostly, I hope they invest more in the health area because, well, it's still going, the pandemic is still going on. Probably we will have more in the future, so we have to be prepared for it.
For me, the most important was things we were doing during COVID, like wearing the masks or keeping the distance, was something that we used to do every day to protect ourselves. But today, not many people keep doing these things that are simple and could actually help not have COVID back.
I don't think COVID has ended, but it still feels like it, at least in Europe right now. I think that, well, the media has stopped talking about it, so that's why maybe we feel a bit safer now. But I think that most of our needs or things to do in action or activities or meetups, we are doing it. So I don't think nothing as nothing that I was expecting did not happen because of COVID. So I don't know if you're just lucky or I just stay at home so much time. So yeah, I think that's it.
I do expect that it could be much awareness for the people, and I had the concern about that people would be much aware after this COVID-19 ended, and I expect that people are getting more conscious about what kind of situation could happen during the COVID, and they should learn from it, and so that we can have a beautiful art in future.
I also expected people to be more conscious about the environment, contamination and stuff. And when everything came back to normal, everything went back to be contaminated, water, spaces, and everything. So that was something I was expecting it to change, but it didn't.
The pandemic changed all everyone's lives. For me, I realized that I wanted to change my work area, what had a huge impact in my life. I think every one of us started valuing a lot more our families, health, and friends. And well, this could be dealt as a positive side, but for sure I hope that we can go through the COVID as long as fast as we could.
COVID did change our lives a lot in many bad ways, but in many good ways, I think, as well, because we got to focus on the important things, and I understand how fragile our lives are, and that we have to enjoy everything and be thankful for what we have.
God, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think it's still there. Maybe as a globalized people, we don't feel it anymore. But there are too many people suffering from COVID. It's still places where people is dying. China is just back to a big uprising of cases. So, yeah, I think it's still there.
I think that right now we can like live as free as we can optimally. When we can protect ourselves, we should. But I don't think that right now we are in a situation that we must activate the emergency button and stay at home at all times, because that can affect our mental health. But if we are in a public space that has a lot of people, we should protect ourselves so we can protect others as well.